This is the family court. I call him on the hotel's phone. Immediately put me on hold. Regarding the custody crimes with my daughter that they've been enforcing and covering for years. Michael Cage?
And how can I help you?
Do I have a court date?
There aren't any court hearings in this case as of right now.
Yeah, I got a letter in the mail saying that it was one for April 14th. I mean, April 4th. It changed?
There is no current setting in this case.
Huh. So I was set up. So what it had was a case April 4th. And since you guys wouldn't give me legal representation, it caused me to go to CPS. And now the court case has been removed. I got a letter stating that it was really weird and vague. She immediately put me on hold. You know it's a con. Why would I lie? So they used my daughter as leverage to set me up with this false charge. Now, I don't know what's true. These are con artists. They could really have the case. They sent me a letter saying that they had a court date, April 6th or something like that. But I'm calling so many con artists, they want me to miss. He's not playing games with me having access to my child. I could really have a court date and then they just lied because they don't want me to be at it. I don't know the truth. They don't want me to know it. She immediately put me on hold like it's not, it's obvious felonies. I'm still on hold. Been on hold hours in these cons. It's part of the psychological damage. Prove we're doing it on prove. Who's going to believe you? Tell them that we're breaking into the hotel's phone. Tell them we're scamming at all these. Who is ever going to believe we're that sick? Good job at trying to report it. Try it for 5 years. No one's ever going to believe you, my dear. And even if they do, we're never going to investigate ourselves. We're going to keep robbing you, violating anyone that you come in contact with. They torture you too for profit. Making sure we don't investigate ourselves in these extreme events for profit. And making it, some of them, we just taunt you and make sure they sound mentally ill when you report them. Just taunt you with crimes. Trying to convince someone that we're really doing this, my dear. For 5 years, how's it been working for you? Yes, we've robbed you. Set up all kind of heinous cons that no one would ever believe that we're doing. So we get away with it. And we use your kids to torture you. And anybody else we can. Prove it. Who cares anyway? Look at how your churches treat you. They have not called me back. Family members don't. Look at these domestic violence organizations that we actually assaulted you and arrested you in front of staff. You got drugged out of a church you attended for 20-something years. They sat there and looked at you getting violated. Who's standing up for you in this whole world? Except the only person that you have is God, which is a lie. That's how you get violated walking to the bus stop and on the bus. So if someone paid to have you homeless, they're not going to let you get shelter like they did with in the reentry program in jail. Someone paid to have me homeless. That way I catch the bus and get tortured. That way I can get threatened 3 or 4 times a day. That way I can be scared, use up all my funds, live in a tent, get violated there. The help is very limited for these extreme events when you're homeless. So they gave me a letter that prompted me to go to CPS stating that I had a court date. Now that I'm calling about the court date, they want to scam that I don't have one. Like I said, I don't know what the truth is. I may actually have one.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you for holding. So looking in your case, it shows that your hearing was reset by the court coordinator. Well, removed by the court coordinator. It was a dismissal date, and it was pushed back, but there weren't any additional hearings in this particular case.
I'm not quite sure what the dismissal is because I can't get legal representation. They didn't follow protocol and didn't give me an attorney.
I'm trying to explain what a dismissal case. Dismissals are on all cases, so they're not just sitting on our docket with no activity. So when the motion was filed back in April of 2021, nothing else except for correspondence letters have been entered. We haven't had any proposed orders or anything like that for the judge to even review. So because of that, the dismissal came up, and nothing else has been done in this case. So there's nothing currently happening. There are no hearings scheduled.
But here's the problem. If I can get clarity, first it was a restraining order, and then the CPS workers and a multitude of parties committed crimes and then disappeared off the docket. Then after it was a restraining order, it terminated, and I didn't go to court. So I had no education, or I didn't get an attorney on any of the proceedings because I wasn't there. So they terminated my rights, and I wasn't there. I also told them I didn't have access to my child in 2019 after she witnessed my false arrest. Well, 2018, October 26, 2018, I wasn't allowed to go to court. Then they terminated my rights 2019 when I didn't have any access to her. So if someone was abusing her, it was the people she was with. I didn't have her. So I couldn't go to court to communicate to court to all of this insanities and the wrecked up interference with child custody crimes. I still haven't reported it. But I don't understand how a CPS worker, James Hastings, was on your docket, then disappeared. How was my rights terminated, and no one will tell me how? But how, I didn't appear at court. Mary Murphy, I've never met. We can't find her. Then it's dismissed. They told me it was dismissed August 1st, August 2nd, what date was that? 2019, because Kim Cooks was over it. Then it changed to Mary Murphy, extended it, and it wasn't dismissed. So if they had a temporary restraining order, how did it get terminated? Temporary restraining orders are temporary, but some kind of way they terminated my rights. And when your child custody rights are terminated, you don't pay child support. I'm still paying it. A lot of this is completely insane. I can't get legal representation for the terminated child custody rights, which is against the family code. So what am I supposed to do? The hearing is pushed back. I don't know what you want me to do. I can't get law enforcement or legal representation for years. Or domestic violence abuse help. I told the court I was going through. I told the court about the hit and run of my son, and all locations cover and enforce abuse that I'm present in. All of them. So what would you propose I do if the family court gets away with violating me after my daughter's witnessed my false arrest, screaming in terror? And the family court covers for it.
I personally can't recommend anything except for you file the proper paperwork to try to get a hearing.
I've already filed the paperwork. Do you see it? October 26, 2018, when they wouldn't let me appear at pet court. I'm not being heard. I told them I didn't have access to my child, and then I'm not being heard, ma'am. I'm just trying to inform you of what I experienced. You said file the proper paperwork. I'm informing you that I did. Ma'am, let me, because that way you can look at it, ma'am. Just hold on. Let me correct you. If you're not covering for crimes, ma'am. October 26, 2018, I told the court I did not have access to my child and filed the paperwork. Then they concocted that I was abusive 2019, knowing full-blown well I didn't have access. So since they didn't have an answer for the felonies they racked up, they set up Mary Murphy to do it, who I've never met. Kim Cooks and Beecham was behind it. Since they realized the felony charges they were racking up, they set up Mary Murphy to do it because they already got paid to terminate my child custody rights for profit. I've told multiple different people with the court of these crimes, CPS. I just got out of jail for reporting your crimes at CPS. And then here's the extreme event. They would not let me out of jail reporting your crimes with time served. I never went to court. Each location I go to report you, I get bullied and violated to cover and enforce your crimes at this court. Did you know that I went to jail reporting you guys? And they wouldn't let me out with time served and put me in maximum security?
I'm seeing, so I don't know anything about your case except for what I've...
Well, I'm letting you know because I think that you should be aware that I was arrested at CPS trying to report your crimes and how you're taking bribes to keep me away from my child. I think that's substantial for you to know that they are so crooked they wouldn't let me go to court to cover for you, and then wouldn't let me out of jail with time served and put me in maximum security.
I'm sorry, was there anything else I could assist you with?
Yeah, what you were saying was not accurate. You said I need to follow the proper documents, and I'm reminding you that I already did. Don't you see them October 26, 2018? That's not accurate what you're saying. I've already filed the documents. And then they scammed that I didn't have access to my child, that I was abusive when I didn't have access to my child, neglect. I'm sure it would be neglect when you wouldn't let me have access to her. I wasn't there because I couldn't get it. So then after you wouldn't give me access, you're sadistic and claim that I neglected her because you committed crimes to keep me from her? That's sadistic. So no, all they say is neglect when I did not have access and begged the court to help me have access to my child. I'm on supervised visits in this con. The family FO place will not give me the supervised visits that the court ordered for profit. Had me do all this paperwork multiple times, going back and forth, walking down the street to this location, faxing, paying for this papers to get faxed, a multitude of them. Doing it multiple times. They claim they didn't get it. After I sent all this paperwork, they claim they need it, deprived me of services. I asked the family place, the Salvation Army to do the fax. They declined. In the domestic violence location, they would not help. So I had to go. They eventually scammed, so I couldn't stay there. So I went to another location and tried to do the fax after I got out of the scam, being detained there in the con. So it sounds like I'm suffering a lot of abuse. But here's the thing. How are you stating that I neglected my child when I didn't have access, and then you're saying file the proper paperwork to get back in the courts? I did. What happened October 26, 2018, when I was reporting that I didn't have access to my child? You're the court. You don't want me to know? This years. That was just best. This is just best. Just be quiet. It'll go away. I just have to torture her to feel like a man. So just sit there and be quiet, because I've already paid you for this. Don't defraud me out of, don't you mess me over on this. We had a deal. So if she puts you in the bind, I already paid you. You just sit there and listen. Don't incriminate anyone. I'm getting my money's worth. I don't want her around her kids or anyone else on this planet. I paid you for that, and you enforce it. This is what they do. It happens to be a crime, and we do have value that a multitude of people haven't seen for over 5 years. I just hung up. I haven't had sleep all night. It's cold outside, and the scheme that I can't use my devices is controlled. They're holding up uploads, and I can't report it all this time. So, I'm talking too much. Like I said, I haven't had sleep. What am I going to do? Every location, even that I don't have enough money to keep staying in hotels. And even if I am in the hotels, I'm still not safe. If they get mad enough, they'll come there and threaten to break the door down, like they did at the Marriott. Nothing happened. Then I incriminated the police. I said, why would you threaten to break the door down? Well, they can just deny services for no reason. You're threatening to break the door down for no reason? You can't. That's a blatant lie. You just can't go to 3 and 4 locations before COVID in your insanity and give someone a criminal trespass so they can't be anywhere on the planet. That's what happens when you take the bribes from deranged people. They set up schemes that psych mentally ill. So in your con, you keep seeing dollar signs. You don't know that you can't scam someone a criminal trespass 3 and 4 times a day for sadistic abuser. You don't know that. No one has ever told you that in 5 years. So then after I didn't have rights for 5 years, no one had them with COVID. Am I saying they're related? All I'm saying is that these people should have picked up their felony charges a long time ago.